Take it away. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm going to stand over here. And I better not trip over.
Ready?
Be careful of that. Okay. Yeah, can we hit the lights in the back, maybe,
Wait,
or off? Or
no, can we leave them on, Larry, because the video's a little better.
Well, at least the front.
Let me do it.
Oh,
Right front.
Well, where do you have that? Can you give me those 4 weights again?
So three of them were in 1793, half cent, chain cent, and wreath cent, and then the 1796 quarter. So I don't know, Dave, if your video will work with that amount of light or not, but we can certainly, if you need to turn it on, just go ahead.
Looks okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll get started here. So a random walk.
That's okay, you're okay.
A random walk to a certified typeset. So this is what I'm trying to do here is take you through my actual typeset, right? So half of these slides, well, the first two slides I'll admit are the first two slides you've probably seen before. If anyone has seen my program I did a few years ago, and this is just kind of telling you what basically a type, what is a typeset or type coin, and really it's trying to get one good example of every major variety minted since 1793, right? So the coin dealer newsletter, if you look in there, I think they list 78 coins, right? But a lot of people consider a typeset to go beyond those 78. So like modern coins like Washington quarters and Roosevelt dimes, they're not technically, at least per the gray sheet, considered a type coin. But a typeset can be whatever you want. It's really one of each, right? So I include that in my typeset. Really, when you go up to like when coins went from silver to clad, and if you stop there's 113 coins. Okay. So why collect by type? Well, very challenging to find nice examples in various grades. Most astute collectors look for the most eye-appealing ones they can find. And type coins tend to dramatically rise in value during bull markets, and they hold up fairly well in bear markets. So in the last 7-8 years, the coin market's been kind of stagnant, not doing so well. But some of the choice, early 1800 type half dollars and things like that, they've held their own. It's a lot of these conditioned rarities and more modern Morgan dollars and certain things like that. Gold, especially gold type, some of that stuff's really taken a hit in the last few years, right? Dealers will almost always pay above gray sheet if the coins are premium quality, if they're really high end for the gold. And you can own a piece of history, right? Certain coins with certain dates, the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Great Depression. There's so many historical events that coins really can tell a story about. Some of them were minted by hand, resulted in a multitude of varieties, weak strikes, rotated dies, die cracks, off-center, clash marks, adjustment marks. So what I've tried to do in this typeset is have a flavor of some of that stuff in the collection. So instead of them all being AU58 and brilliant, with no toning, I like to kind of mix it up. And there's about an estimate of 10% survival rate on older type coins, when you think about it, or less. Okay, so why certified versus raw coins? There's a lot of debate that people don't like slabs, they want raw coins, and I think some of that has to do with how long people have been collecting and things like that. One thing is the certification companies give you guaranteed authenticity. They will not put a coin in a holder unless they make a rare mistake, unless they know it's authentic, right? Not counterfeit. They grade the industry standards, right? Now there's debate whether these standards have waffled around and grade inflation and all that, but they do their best to grade the industry standards. And the hard plastic slabs protect us, the rare coins, from our worst enemies, dealers and collectors, right? You know how many coins have been mishandled over the last 200 years? It's really bad. And then a lot of the coins, even in holders, at one time long ago have probably been cleaned or touched a little bit. But if it wasn't harshly done, it's acceptable in today's marketplace, right? It protects the coin from damage if carelessly handled, which is good. Provides some environmental protection. I mean, the elements can really take its toll on the surfaces of the metal. And coins, some of them are attributed to varieties, numbers, and pedigrees, and you have that on the holder as well. So, certified holders becoming desirable. Within my collection, I don't have a lot of room here, sorry. Within my collection, I I don't really collect slabs, so to speak, but there are, you know, different generations of holders. So PCGS has 6 generations of holders up from 1986 or 86 to today, or 87. Anyway, they're 30 years ago. And of those 6 generations, there's 25 like sub-varieties. Things like maybe this barcode was moved to the back, or, you know, or the color of the card in here was changed. Things like that, right? So OGA, old green holder, is a very common term in the industry. And what I'm saying here is these are desirable. People will pay a premium for a coin with an old green holder because most of these were put in, these holders were around 1991 to 94, very early in PCGS's history. And the theory goes is if you have a coin in a holder that's been in there 30 years and it looks like it did when it was put in there, it's stable. You get a coin in a brand new holder today, in a year you could start to develop spots on it or what have you. I'm sure you've heard the story of the Mint State 70 business strike. I think I talked about that last meeting, where someone paid, I don't know, $30,000 for this coin and developed spots 6 months later, and now it's worth a penny. It's Mint State 66 maybe if they're lucky, right? So several generation of holders. I have several in my collection. And then on the NGC side, fatty holders are desirable. Fatty means there's no line across it right here. It's just solid plastic. And this particular holder, oh, one thing I forgot to tell you is if there's an asterisk up here, I actually use pictures of coins that are actually in my collection. If it's a slide without the asterisk, I went to somewhere else to get them. So this is a very, very early NGC holder. See the embossed gold stamp in the back? This is probably right after the Holy Grail, the black NGC holder. And when they put them in the black holder, the reverse of the coin was on the front of the holder. And the last one of those that I know that sold at auction was a $150 valued Walking Liberty half dollar in the original black holder, and it sold for $3,700. So it is true some people do collect the slab and not the coin. It has actually come to that, okay? And then ANACs. You know, these little holders here were early on in ANAC's history, and they were issued when grading was more conservative, and these coins can be bargains, and a lot of them will cross into PCGS holders. And I had a PCGS grader look at a lot of the coins in my collection, and he said if I resubmitted this Washington quarter, it's a 1934D today, he used to be a grader, he said that would come back at 64. So very conservative grading. These are desirable, and you can get bargains if you find these as well.
What about when ANAC started grading? They didn't have holders.
That's true. They did very early on. They did not.
Right.
That's true. And I actually had a $10 gold piece in one of those early ones, and I sold it a while ago. I kind of wished I'd have kept it. Okay, so what I try to do in this collection is have the full grading spectrum, right? So my typeset consists of right here. I kind of try to represent it. So everything I have in there, I have just about every grade except the 60, which I used to actually have one, but I don't at the moment, or 70, because good luck finding a business strike in the 70. There are no more, right? They've only done that one Lincoln since. All AU except grades are represented. VF except 35 is represented. And this is an example of our VF10 I have, or VG10, and then a Mint State 68. And since I put this together, I've actually acquired a Mint State 69 Lincoln set, 2002, and an about good 1806 quarter. So it's kind of nice to have various levels, and this just shows the percentage of what I have. And my favorite grade of all is AU58. A lot of AU58, well, I don't know about a lot, but some AU58 coins graded 20 plus years ago will actually come back Mint State if you submitted them today. I have a good example. I recently submitted an 1891 Sea Liberty quarter, and it was in an NGC holder, AU58. We took it out of the holder, real beautifully toned, sent it to PCGS. It came back Mint State 63. And when I sent it back into CAC, they had a sticker on it at AU58. They put a sticker on it at MS63. That's a $600 upgrade right there.
Yeah.
Okay, grading the graders. How much is enough, right? CAC, Certified Acceptance Corp. Some of you have probably heard of that, right? This CAC sticker is kind of like, you know, like the old green holder kind of thing. There's a desirability because the guy who started this company was one of the early founders of NGC and early graders of NGC, so he's well respected in the industry. And this caught on, I think it's going on 10 years now, and on average these coins will sell 10, 15, 20% above one without the sticker, right? Now I always say, be your own guide, use your eyes, and don't rely on a sticker, because I've seen a lot of coins with CAC stickers I don't like, and I don't think they necessarily deserve it. And I've sent some in that did come back with a sticker, and they're still in my collection because I thought he was wrong. And not too many people probably do this, but when I send in coins to CAC, I ask him, I say, please let me know any that do not sticker and why. And for $13.50, he doesn't charge you if it doesn't sticker, but he tells you why. He actually said, call me on one coin. He didn't want to put on there, he says, he didn't want to, you know, have people publish that he's talking bad about their coins, but it's amazing what you'll learn when you send coins to this guy if they don't sticker and why. Most common reasons, friction, cabinet friction, rub. Lots of coins have mint state on the holders and they're AU58s as well, so it can go the other way too. The gold beam. If you have a gold CAC sticker on it, which are rare, about 1 in 1,000 get this. It means the coin exceeds the grade, it's undergraded, it's actually a grade higher. I have two here examples that you can look at on the break. I brought some samples of my typeset here tonight to look at that are not actually in the presentation. So quality assurance, there's other companies that are doing the sticker game. This company is yet to see if it's really going to be successful or not, but what they do is only modern coins. Whoops. They'll only do modern coins. So I actually have one in my collection that's here tonight. It's not like I seek these things out, but they're similar. And all they're trying to do is standardize the whole runaway grade inflation kind of stuff, right? So plus designation. When CAC first came out, PCGS and NGC's answer to that, it says, okay, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to mark our high-end coins by putting a plus on them. So now when you go to the mint state grades, you got what, 11? You got 20-something grades. It's kind of ridiculous, but a plus designation will be right after the grade here, mint state 64 plus. And both of these are designed to identify high-end coins, high eye appeal, really nice surfaces, nice strike, what have you, for the grade. It's redundant if you have a CAC sticker and a plus, and I say that because when CAC stickers a coin, they don't care if a plus is on there or not. They're actually saying it's high end of the grade based on their criteria. It has nothing to do whether it has a plus on it or not. But I guess it just shows more accolades that the coin's probably really nice, right? Okay, so in this collection I like to have examples, as I talked about earlier, of different kinds of nuances or things with coins. So I don't have everything, and the list could get very long. But cuds, these are raised lumps of metal on a coin caused by a piece of die that's broken off. So it's probably hard to see, but right in here, I don't know if I can. Whoops.
Ooh.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Whoops. Let's go back to it. What am I doing here? So this, these are the cuds right here. If you look around the edge, this isn't a dramatic example, but it kind of shows you what's going on there. Okay, and then some other stuff, clash marks. It's probably really difficult to tell, but if you look in here around on this 3-cent nickel, you'll see impressions from the reverse of the coin stamped in the front. And what happens is when the die stamp the coin, sometimes if a plancha's not in there, they hit each other, and pretty soon you're putting the high points of the coin on the other side of the die, and the rest of the coins that eventually get struck have that diagnostic on them. Die cracks. This one, I don't know if you guys can see it. This might be worth trying to raise up as well, because this one's pretty dramatic if I can get it to really. So can you see? You see right there, right? There's one right here, and there's one right down here. It's pretty dramatic. And some of these people collect them by die state, and I mean, you got series collectors, you got die variety collectors. But I figured in my typeset to have one with, you know, that much die cracks, kind of a neat conversation piece. Okay, and then planchet flaws, I didn't put one in here, I didn't put a picture of one in here, but that's usually if there's some imperfection in the die and it's transferred to the coin, right? Okay, eye appeal toning. You know, there's some people like toned coins, they come and go out of style, certain types of toning. All this is discoloration or light patina that forms on the surface of the coin. It's due to oxygen and chemicals in the air acting on the metal. Right? Oxidation, it can result from a variety and level of toning, and it also depends on the properties of the metal. And coin toning can intrinsically increase or decrease the value of the coin. So I don't know how good it shows, but this has nice rainbow toning here. And this Kennedy half is almost like a gold with an orange hue around the rim of the coin. They probably don't show up as nice in there, but it's one thing to like toned coins, and a lot of them are only on one side, but when you find it on both sides, I really love that. So I really like to find those ones. Luster. So luster, that's the sheen or reflective qualities produced during the minting process, right? And metal flows from the center to the outer edge, and what happens is you get these microscopic styrations. They reflect light back into a unique crossing pattern, and when you rotate the coin a certain way, you get this shimmery type of look. You can see it here, you can see it here, and you can see a little bit here on this Indian head penny. I'm good on time. Yeah. So strike. Strike's important. Strike has a lot to do with the upper end of the grading spectrum, right? When you get into mint state coins, sometimes the difference between a 66 and a 64 will have to do with strike alone, right? Coins that are going to be graded above a 65 and higher, the strike better just about all be there, right? So full bell lines. I have one in my collection that has those, right? This is the example here. And I don't know how good you can see this, but this is full bell lines minimum, and then 100% full bell lines, and then just shorter full bell lines, weakly struck without full bell lines. And full head is another example. So there's two varieties, the 1916-17 and then 18, or actually 17 through 29, and the heads are slightly different, but you're looking for the leaf pattern here in the head and the definition of the ear. And this shows 100% full head, minimum detail, and just shorter full head. You can see the difference, right? And then in other coins like Roosevelt dime, there's split torch. Mercury dimes, there's full split bands. Actually, I'm probably talking ahead of what I'm going to show you here. Yep. So we've got full split bands. You can see how nicely those are split there. This is a more higher resolution image. So right here, if there's not a complete line across there, it's not a full split band, right? Here's one without them. It's pretty obvious these are weakly struck. And then same with Jefferson nickels. There's full steps. Some of the grading companies will say 5 versus 6 steps. But the same coin with one versus the other in high grades can be thousands of dollars difference in price. Very, very significant, right? Because a lot of these coins in some of the rarer years where they weren't struck so strong, it's just the first handful that were struck had that quality, and then the rest were, you know, less so because the dies wore out so quickly, right? So major varieties. Within the type set, I want to have, you know, if there's type 1 of a particular coin, like Standing Liberty Quarter, so type 1 was the 1917, 16, and then 1929, or actually 1917 and beyond, but 2 different types, and then I should have shown on the back here what the differences were, but in the eagle and the stars, there's minor differences, especially in the front here on the shield, and of course this one had the, you know, bare breast, so different types. Arrows and rays, I mean, all your Sea to Liberty coinage, some had arrows right here by the date. Some certain years had rays or motto versus no motto, and a lot of these arrows had to do with when they would change the silver content of the coin. And then, you know, 90% silver versus 40% silver. So I have one of each of those in the collection, and this is one way to tell you. You can look at the edge, and you can see the difference between copper clad and silver clad. So all the mints, I try to have, I think I have a representative of every mint in the collection. Charlotte, North Carolina, I do not have that one. So the ones in red I do not have, the ones in green I do have. And my typeset, I'm excluding any gold coins I have from it, right? and Charlotte and Dallahanger, I think you say it, how do you say it? Those are, I think they only.
Dallahanger.
Yeah, Dallahanger, I think they only minted gold.
Yeah, only gold.
Yeah. So I do have all the mints represented. So issues to consider when collecting coins, right? If you buy raw coins, beware of counterfeit. So you can minimize this if you decide to go certified. Always avoid problem coins. And if you do buy a problem coin and it's in a holder, they will certify it as genuine, but they won't grade it. And typically the rule of thumb is if a coin is genuine and it's not graded because it's been cleaned or environmental damage or what have you, sometimes they still look okay, and it's the only way you can really afford a coin, right? And the rule of thumb is if a coin's worth $10,000 with no damage and it's graded, that counterpart with damage and no grade but genuine will be worth about $5,000. So they sell at about 50% discount. But it's one way to get that 1796 quarter if you don't want to have to put out a fortune, right? Be prepared to pay a premium for high-end coins, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. You go to coin shows and you look in dealers' cases, what do you see from one show to the next? A lot of the same coins sitting there, right? Because the good ones are snapped up early, or they're bought at auction, or online, or through private transactions with people who know who has what. Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to recommend, do not buy coins at flea markets. Most of them tend to be counterfeits.
Yeah. Do your homework determining what you should spend on a particular coin. Learn how to properly grade them, right? We have Bruce who talked about grading here before. There's other resources to sharpen your skills on grading. Always buy the highest grade you can afford. It doesn't mean buy the top grade, just buy the highest grade you can afford. And what I try to do, if a coin in XF is worth $200 and then AU it jumps up to $1,400, I'll usually buy the XF coin or XF 45 because you're getting almost the same coin but at a lot less money, and there's a lot of spread there. So if you have a nice one and you go to sell it, there's more bargaining room. If you buy the coin at XF to AU and there's 50 cent or $50 difference, you don't have any room. It's hard to get any kind of return out of it if you did decide to sell or had to sell, something like that. I'd almost never buy coins sight unseen, like through eBay or auctions, unless you really, really know what you're doing. So my rule of thumb is I will buy coins through Heritage, but I won't spend more than about $300 on a coin from auction. If I have to pay more than that, I want to see the coin. That way I figure if I that's not what I thought, it's not a big hit, right?
Well, I always see what coins I'm buying, but when I buy them online, I take a screenshot because I only buy the graded coins online. When I actually get the coin, I compare it to the serial number that's on that coin. If it's different, I'll send it back. I've never gotten one that's different yet. I've always got the one that was on this.
Yeah, no, that's good. You got to really pay attention to that.
So that's my guideline.
Okay, so I think that wraps it up. So a little references here. The photography, Aspen Park Rare Coins, CDM Production, the newsletter. Dave Davis, thank you very much. He helped me a lot in some of the coin photography, and PCGS and NGC. I utilize some of their logos and stuff. Now I'll take questions.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes. Last year, wasn't there 3 gold typeset coins made?
You're talking about the 1916 or
No,
commemorative?
the 2016.
Yeah, right. Because of the
The dime, the
correct.
quarter, and
Yes, they were. Yes.
So those should have been in your typeset also.
Well,
right?
actually, it's funny you say that because those are technically commemorative coins. They're not business strikes, but I do own all 3 of them.
So do I.
Okay, wait a minute. You had your hand up, and then Mike Torini. Yes.
Just an observation in some of the grading guides, especially the one in Coin World, is the full step nickel. I think it's after they have separate listings for MS63, MS63 full step, 64, 64 full step, etc. But you get past about 2004, they've dropped the full step. Does that mean all those business strikes are coming out with full steps? I haven't looked yet.
It could mean that, or the way they make them, they don't count the steps anymore. Because these coins every so often they change, minor changes on the pattern, the way they strike them. Like Lincoln cent, there's been several changes. If you look at a Lincoln cent from today and one from 1970, there's very dramatic differences in the size of the head and a lot of things. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I got to go to Mike. Yes, Mike.
All your coins, obviously, you were showing in your type run speeding through our slab. Have you ever displayed all of them in the display? Because at the Cupertino Coin Show, there's somebody who does the same thing you do, and he's created a huge rack and the security issue of displaying them all.
Oh, that needs more.
Well,
You've heard this, yeah.
I've done it on my dining room table, and it's pretty cool to see, but I'm a little nervous about taking a X value of
Yeah.
coin somewhere and doing
I know
it.
what
I'm not opposed to it, but I haven't displayed them all at one time.
James and I have seen it, and he wheels them in, and you can go both sides.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
it's-
pretty cool.
It's phenomenal.
I might have to make a setup like that. Wait, I'm trying to go in the order of hands raised.
Just on Keith,
Keith, what is it, Keith Scott?
Scott, yeah. He actually designed that and built it himself, and he thinks it's pretty safe, you know.
You can't pull a coin out of it, you can look at it.
Yes, right, exactly.
Just quickly, there's about 100 coins in it, isn't there?
Mhm.
Wow. Mr. Berman, yes?
Just to answer the question about the newer nickels and the 5 steps or whatever. The last 10 or 12 years, the U.S. Mint processing and the dies have become so sophisticated that a really average, low-end, uncirculated mint coin is probably about what we would call MS-65. MS-67, 8, and 9 is very common. So there's no reason to list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Yes, Charlie?
The grading services, do they consider toning when they assign the grade?
So they do. They do. There's good toning, there's ugly toning.
Yeah.
Toning is always, to me, toning's fascinating because technically, every tone coin you own or I own, it's damaged. It's corroded, technically. However, because it's very thin film and it's the early stages of it, if you stop it and it's beautiful, it's like artwork and it's acceptable. It's just bizarre. It's just like every other hobby, when you have a silver vase or something, you can polish it and clean it. Coins you don't clean. Right? We want them left alone. So, but the way toning works is, if it's ugly toning, blotchy toning, dark toning, then it's at that later stage. The colors come first. Then the grays and the dulls come later. That's when it's really getting bad. And that's when it could actually start eating into the metal. So those coins will be discounted when they're graded. But high-end toning, sometimes it could notch a coin up a grade. And the other thing toning does, and why you'll see some pretty high-end, like there was a Morgan dollar up there, it was mint state 64. And if you look under the toning, it's really a 63. There's too many bag marks and nicks on it. But the toning hides a lot of that. And the toning overshadows, who cares what the grade is? If the toning's phenomenal, you're buying the coin for the toning. And tone coins, when they're pretty, will sell for multiples of what the sheets say they're worth. People will pay crazy prices for tone coins.
Do the slabs mention the toning, or do they just?
They do not mention it. They do
Except
not
for
mention
pennies, with NGC, red, brown.
Well, that's not toning though. That's the original state of the coin, and it's degraded or what have you. That's a form of tarnish
But it's
or
on the
toning.
coin- it's on the
They
slab.
do. Copper coins say red or red brown. That's correct. Yes, Dave.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, you could put together a whole typeset of proof coins. Would you, and I want to say your presentation was just excellent. You could do a whole typeset of proof coins.
So, proof coins are really neat, and I have nothing against proof coins. I have a few. But the reason I'm not so fascinated with proof coins is because they were struck with white hand-held gloves and kit care, so they're not as challenging to find nice. It's hard to find a coin that's 80, 200, or 150 years old that looks nice. It's just really difficult. Any more questions?
That's it.
Okay, we got a couple.
Can we add to your single year list the Indian cent from 1859? That's the laurel wreath back.
Yeah.
Well, you could, but technically, because the front is really the same design, it's just a variation, but it's not its
Your
complete.
your other two 1793s also have the same obverse.
No, they don't.
Are they different obverses?
The heads are
I know
different.
changed it, but-
Yes, they are different.
Okay.
Yeah, but good call.
Close.
Yes, sir.
I have a little question. I unfortunately I need to leave because I wasn't prepared for the full
That's okay.
thing. But how do I become a member?
You give this guy $10 over here at the end of the table.
Yeah.
No, either way. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Actually, just close. Just close.
Okay, so wait, I think,
No, the
I gotta
back.
go back to what I.
Yeah, just close it.